Time now for the markets with Leighton. And Leighton, the August crop production report coming out shortly.
Very shortly, Monday, August 12th at midday. We'll discuss what those numbers may have to say about corn. Also ahead in the markets this week, long-term demand appears to be positive for wheat. The nation's cow herd is estimated to be down a little further as Russia bans chicken imports from one Mississippi plant. Analysts are waiting for the crop and supply demand numbers that will be released at midday on Monday the 12th. Thursday morning at production time, corn and soybeans were described as trading surprisingly higher by some analysts given the positioning that normally precedes a monthly report. I discussed the grain and oilseed sector with extension economist Brian Williams. Brian, corn prices have been in a downtrend so far. What's going on there right now?
They have been, and there's several things that are kind of playing into the mix. The big things, number one, we've got a USDA report coming up on Monday, and it looks like we're going to have a lot bigger crop than last year, and they're expected to revise that upward again. Another thing we're seeing is, with harvest quickly approaching, we're seeing a lot of producers emptying out the grain bin and just putting a lot more grain on the market. And then the third thing is, here in the southeast, the corn crop's really getting close to maturity, and they're expecting harvest to start rolling in and putting additional grain on the market soon.
Is this market oversold right now, would you say?
Maybe to a certain extent. It's really not surprising me what we're seeing, given all the information that we have coming into the market, though.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, really, compared to a year ago, especially, weather is not really a threat, or there's nothing we know of right now that could impact weather-wise.
Right, and I think much of the country, what we're seeing is the corn's getting closer to maturity, and so the weather's not going to have as big of an impact at this point. And the impact that it does have, I think, is going to be a lot more quality-based than quantity-based.
And how is demand like for old crop corn? How's that running?
Well, with the corn prices coming down, both in new crop and old crop, I think we're seeing the demand be boosted a little bit. Margins are looking good for the ethanol producers, and then cattle feeders are really liking these lower prices as well.
Now on the soybean side, in some parts of the country, it seems the crop is behind a little bit?
Yes, it is. As a country, we're at about 39% of our soybean crops have set pods. That's compared to a normal of about 51%. Here in Mississippi, we're even further behind. We're at 49% setting pods, and we should normally be around 91%.
Yet prices have kind of been trending down as well on beans.
They have been. We've seen a bit of a recovery today. Today, Thursday, they've come up a little bit, but we are at a low point in the last several months.
Staying with the grains as we continue, long-term demand is said to be supportive for the wheat market right now. Analyst Jamie Kohaki says if he was going to pick one grain to get long on, it would be wheat based off of demand.
The wild card is going to be the U.S. dollar. You saw an uptick there midweek. I don't think the dollar hangs on long term, but it is something to watch out for. But I do like buying wheat on breaks.
August is National Catfish Month, and we have a catfish-related trivia quiz for you. And here's the question: how many farm-raised catfish operations are there in the United States? 219, 399, 536, or 624? I'll tell you the answer at the end of the markets. The National Pork Board claims the most recent monthly cold storage report confirms pork demand nationwide is up. The USDA numbers indicate that frozen pork supplies dropped 14% from May to June. Year over year, pork inventories in our nation's coolers were down 5%. Meanwhile, frozen beef stocks were larger than some analysts anticipated, basically unchanged from May, but up 3% from 1 year ago. And as for chicken in cold storage, the government says stocks as of June were down 2% from the month before. But compared to 1 year ago, inventories of chicken were actually up 2%. The USDA canceled its mid-year cattle inventory report for 2013, but there is word of one gauge of where we may be in the beef sector right now as far as inventory. Brownfield Ag News reports this week a group of cattle market analysts, the Technical Advisory Committee of the Livestock Marketing Information Center, now estimates the beef cow herd in the U.S. is likely down another 1 to 2% as of July 1st. Thursday morning at production time, lean hogs were 32 to 72 cents higher after some triple-digit losses in a few hog contracts on Wednesday. Analyst Elaine Cubb says it's her opinion the pork sector has passed its price peak for now.
I think that it's not going to be able to make it back over its peak from June, right before the 4th of July. I think that was probably the peak we've seen. With the bacon season that we would ordinarily be looking at coming into right about now is probably also going to be late this year. I mean, all of this is sort of determined by weather again. So I think that might also be late, and I think that the processors are looking at a very large cold storage number or supply number right now. So I don't think that they're going to have the excitement to bid that back up above 87.
The Russian Federation announced on Tuesday of this week it will suspend imports of chicken from a Sanderson Farms facility in Mississippi. According to the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service, Sanderson's plant in Collins is the one affected by this suspension. Thursday, August 8th was the last day poultry from the Collins plant could be loaded on a ship for export to the Russian Federation. Before the feature story, let's check the trivia answer for this week. And the correct choice is D. As of January, there were 624 farm-raised catfish operations in the U.S. That is a drop of 13% from 1 year ago.